Hello and welcome to another session of AZMAT System tutorial. Today, we're going to look at AZMAT System running under Windows XP and XL version 11, which is XL 2003. Just look at it. This is XL. So if I go Help, About Microsoft Excel, there it is, XL 2003, and it's version 11. And if I go in the system info, it'll come up with system information, including the operating system. Taking some time. There. Operating system name, OS name is Microsoft Windows XP Professional. Close it. So we are running XL 2003 under Windows XP. Just to show you, AZMAT System is very, very flexible. It will run on any version of Excel from Windows, on Windows 3.1 all the way up to Windows 10 currently, as we speak, as I speak, and under Windows from 3.1 to Windows 10 and XL version 5 all the way up to XL 16, which is Microsoft Office 16. Right, let's just open. So file open. I'm going to go through this XL 2003. That's where I have the program files stored for this. And I'll open the Excel main program file as read-only. Always open the program file as read-only, because you do not want to make any changes to that file. I'd advise you to store backup copy of it, not just one, maybe even 2 or 3 different directories or folders of your PC, or even on USB sticks or wherever. Right, open read-only. So the password for the system file is very, very simple, but the AZMAT System password is not so simple, but you can change it at any time you like. Two-letter ID. I always use AA, and 4-digit password. You can use whatever 2-letter ID you wish for your own, on your own computer. Right, this is very simple. As you can see now here, AZMAT System version 1.0 XL11, because this is the Microsoft Excel, actually Excel 2003 is actually version 11, and 2007 is version 12, and so on. So I'm using that particular one. It's actually system automatically detects and puts that version there. And it's not ready. This is a required command either from AZMAT menus, check all that lot, or from any Excel menus. Notice in here, Excel menus are already there. Before the last Excel menu is Help, but AZMAT System menu, I put them all here, just before to the left of Help. This is XL 2003 or XL version 11. Now, as you may have noticed from other tutorials, that in XL version 2010 or 2007, the commands are not the XL menus. You can't just add them like that. They have to be added to the ribbon and add in, and then your own menus here. If you wish, you can have a look at those tutorials and any other tutorials for which you can notice by the name of the tutorial which version of Excel and which operating system it is on. So then you will see that. But this is much simpler, and we have all the AZMAT system menus added on here. So okay, and that's it, we are ready. So first thing I'm going to do is actually just save this particular file with the current date and time. Now, as you know, this is the AZ parameters area. Again, this is covered, every single line of this is covered in other tutorials. Today, I'm going to go to the K menu. That's the curve menu, yield curve. So K menu. Before we actually do that, let me just, as you probably know from other tutorials, that you have to, every time, every day, before the dealers, so let's say, because this system is designed for investment banks use, those dealers, they have to update, do the file edit or rates edit, rates or file edit on any yield curve they want to use that day. So before we start, before we actually go in the K menu, I'm going to the K menu, but I'm actually going to go through here, go to the open the curve for file edit, for example. ZRUSD.XLS, that's the US dollar curve. So I'm going to start on that. So while it's opening, it's carrying out various checks. Now it's opened that particular file. Notice that you may have noticed that system is slightly, well, appreciably slower on this machine, because this is an older machine on which I have the XL 2003. On the XL 2010, I have it all on Windows, running under Windows XP, as well as Windows 10. The Windows 10 machine is very, very fast. So you'll see the curve open almost immediately. Now, so this file says open, it says open rates file that for a full edit session, but note that the changes to this file will not take effect unless an AZMAT system command is used at the end of editing. Now, this has been comprehensively covered on other tutorials several times, so I won't go through that anymore right this point. I'm just going to click OK. I'm going to update the features area. So again, the K menu, update future dates. Because I already selected my features area, features 1 to 12 for this particular curve, US dollar curve has 12 features. US dollar reference curve, I should say, because you can make your own curve. You could call it US1, US2, US3, so on. And you could have as many up to 99 features. But in this particular case, I'm having here 12 features, and other curves like Japanese yen curve would have only 8 features reference curve. So having selected features, all I have to do is click OK, because it's already entered the reference from row 14, column 6, row 14, column 6 to row 25, column 6, row 25, column 6. You may have also noticed that the column headings have changed from ABCD when we first started Excel to 1, 2, 3, because I like to work with numbers better. I prefer that to the ABC. And within AZMAT System, actually, I have a program which automatically changes to the column headings to numbers before AZMAT System is started. Every time Excel is started, basically, and I'll show you how to do that yourself later. Very simple if you know how to do that. Okay, let's just update these features. Dates. Right, so it's done the futures one, September 17, because today is, if you look at it here, it's 24th of August 2017. So first future is in September 2017 and so on. 12th future is June 2020, every quarter, every 3 months going on. Right, the other thing, I could change any of these columns in yellow, hold any area here, there, or there, future price range, non-future price range, and spread range. Because I've opened file edit, I can change anything. I can insert more extra rows or delete some rows if I want to. This you can do that only when you open a curve for file edit. When you open a curve for rates edit, you can only change the area in yellow. So if I go back down there up to there, these two columns then up. When you open it for file edit, you can change anything in the file, not just the prices or rates. Right. We will again, all these have been covered very comprehensively in other tutorials. So we won't go into that right now. Right now, I'm just going to go and ask AZMAT System to calculate all these dates as well, depending on these future dates and the current date. Again, date, look at that. In this particular one, it's a very old date I have here. It will change everything to the current date. So current date is 24th of August, 2017, if you can read that. Right, K menu, and save curve changes. Let's save. It's asked, it always gives you a choice, made it by, whether you want to keep any changes made or cancel the entire edit session. I want to go ahead, so I'll click OK. Again, all these messages, these commands have been comprehensively covered in other tutorials, so we won't go into that right now. Click OK. Yes, that's what I want to do. Always let the user know what you're doing by a simple message. Right? It's done that, required calculation rate file, and the file has been saved. So ZRUSD manual, remember, there's a live curve file as well. But this particular one we have done is manual. Saved. Notice it entered the current date, 24th of August 2017, 10:47 p.m. Now, if I actually, now I want to see, if I want to see that, I'll just open the curve for view, and I can look at it, and you'll notice that this last column here has all been changed as well to reflect the current date, 24th August 2017, and so on, and the future dates. So this curve is now ready to be used in any calculation today. As we go past midnight, it's right now 10:54 p.m. it was done. Past midnight, this curve, ZRUSD.XLS, will have to be either you have to do a file edit or rates edit before it can be used on the next day, which is 25th of August. System just won't let you do any calculations unless that is done. So it will tell you this has not been edited if you forget. So there's no question of you forgetting. It will inform you what you need to do. Right, so let's just, I'll just close this curve. So close current file, do not save any changes. So it won't ask me any messages because I've already said that's what I want to do. We also do the GBP, open curve for file edit, and do the change that GBP. I don't actually have to have these in capital letters. As you notice, these small letters are for GBP. I could enter capital letters if I want to, but I don't have to, so I won't bother. It'll automatically convert it to capital letters. Right, so open, or you could have entered just GBP. Take everything off, just enter the currency. Let's do that. GBP. So it'll automatically add the ZR, the beginning of that, gbp.xls. Note that we are running Excel 2003 and under Windows XP. So it only has got 3-letter extension, .xls, not the later versions, Excel 2007 and 2010 and 2016 and so on. We have got 4 extension letters. So this would be, so okay, if I just click that, so it's the zrgbp.xls. That's what it's actually opening for file edit. As you can see, that zrgbp.xls. I enter just the currency, GBP, and it is automatically assumed that I need to enter the because I said I want to. I'm actually opening a curve for file edits. The reference curve all begin with ZR. And you can see zrgbp.xls for a full edit session. Right, let's do that. Again, we'll do the same. This time, I'm not going to select the actual curve, the futures area. I'll do it after I've selected the command. So update future dates. And it's got AZMAT because AZMAT is the worksheet name. And row 1, column 5, because that's where my cursor was. That's the reference. But of course, I can enter it manually here. But why? Why do that? Why not let the machine do it automatically? Something it can do that, let it do it. It's easier for me to point. So I can just click my mouse there, select there. 12 rows, 1 column there. That's my futures area. The GBP, pound sterling curve, also has 12 futures, the reference curve. Right? Okay. So it selected that. It's going to change that. There it is. Now, I'll also now go ahead and simply say, right, save curve changes. I'm not going to bother changing any of these prices because you know they are reasonably okay. So, but I could change it if I want to. Let's say save curve changes. Then it will calculate. Again, asking me whether I want to keep it. Yes, I want to go ahead. Give user a choice, just in case they by mistake change. You know, they hadn't finished it by mistake. They used the wrong command. So you give them a choice whether they want to go ahead or cancel that command. Okay, so it's done that zrgbp, so done that, and then close. Let's have a quick look at it. Open that curve. We don't have to do that, remember, but I'm just going to open it for view, gbp.xls, already there because that's the last I had used, last curve file name. Note I had only put GBP when I entered. Again, I can just enter GBP if I want to overwrite, and it will automatically open that file. But let's just go ahead. Okay. Opening that for view. So it's view, that means read only. And when you're opening for view, open curve for view, as opposed to open curve for rates edit or file edit. Okay, opening for view, so it'll open as read only. And when you open up either rates edit or file edit, it will not open as in read only mode. It'll open for read write. Okay, we will go through all these in a minute now. But just have to do those 2 things. So there it is, futures, 7 September 2017, all the way June 2020, and all these dates have been changed, and the date is saved it at 10:59 p.m. on 24th of August 2017. Again, the same thing applies. After midnight, I'll have to either open this curve for rates edit or file edit before I can use it in any calculations. Okay, we won't actually do any calculations having done all that, but let's just go and look at this curve menu, K menu. Let's go through all these commands one by one. Briefly, we'll go through each of these, what they are, and then in other tutorials, we've done all these calculations and other tutorials several times. So K menu, remember here, one thing you may notice here, worth pointing out, that the Z menu is dim. Nothing will happen. If I click there, it's there, but I can't. It's not bold, so I can't get to that menu. There it is, U I can, Y I can, N I can, but not a Z menu. Because if you remember from other tutorials, Z menu is especially for SSOP model. And only when the SSOP model is open and the current file is SSOP model, then the Z menu is available, because those commands are only applicable to that particular model, SSOP model. This function, or this functionality rather, is not available in later versions of Excel. In the later versions, for example, Excel 2010 or Excel 14, actually it is Excel 14, but you may better know it as Microsoft Office 2010 Excel or Excel 2010. The Z menu is visible all the time, whether or not SSOP model is open. You cannot have this form or functionality there in later versions. It is not available, simple as that. Right, let's get back to the K menu. So we'll just go through each command. Basically, the other advantage in here, if you see, in here, I have another version of another tutorial rather. If you look at the tutorial for Excel 95, running under Windows 95, Excel, which is Excel version 7, or it's also called Excel 95 for Windows 95. As you move down the menus, you could see that later the programmer could enter a much larger description in the status area, which was very handy. But I'm afraid that functionality is no longer available here in this particular version and later versions of Excel. So in here, Excel 2003, which is Excel 11, that is not possible. So in here, whatever description you have in here, that's all you see. You can't have a much larger description in the status area. And the other thing you had there was, while you had it there, you could press the function key F1 and open that AZMAT System help file and get to that particular page of that the current command. So if I did that here now, let's see, save curve changes. If I press F1 and see what happens, I'm pressing F1 now, and all I have is Excel help, which is not the same. It's not the AZMAT System help, it's Excel help. I'll close that. So that particular functionality is also gone, I'm afraid. So there are some useful functions which were available in earlier versions of Excel, which are still available if you actually got an earlier version of Excel. But those functions, that functionality rather, is not available in these later versions. So in here, if I want to see actually the AZMAT System help file, I'll go in here, U menu, and view AZMAT help file. If I click that, I have got the AZMAT System help file, which is all very nice. I can go through that page by page, or I can jump quickly to any of these. I can go quickly to the contents page. I can jump, say, access of model page, what it is, and then all the help menu, and then going through various aspects of the forward or go back of the help file. I'll minimize it because I might actually use it later in a minute. Notice that here, if I actually, I'm just going to put it here, restore Excel to this size. Now, let's go here on the K menu. So, open curve for view. So, open curve for view, what it does, let me just explain. It opens the curve for view, enter currency name or file name and file directory. Directory is what we used to call for folder, what you probably call folder now, or you do call folder now, but folder or directory are the one and the same thing. So if you see me calling directory, I mean folder. I'll try to use folder if I can, but I may also call it a directory. So this particular command opens curve for view, enter currency name or file name and file directory. Notice that we didn't actually have to enter the file directory, didn't ask for it. When we said open the curve for view and we entered the reference curve, that's what it meant. Because it automatically assumes that the reference curve directory is the AZMAT System directory. That's where reference curves are stored. If you had entered some other curve name, then it will ask you for the directory because that could be stored anywhere else on the system. Right. Please note that only certain people have the authority to use this command. AZMAT System displays a message if the current user does not have access to this command. Now, this applies to various things, and particularly to the when you're opening curve for rates edit or file edit, because some people within the company, for say in an investment bank, file edit probably will be done by senior dealers or traders, and whereas rates edits, maybe they could, the assistant dealers or traders may have the authority to do so. Whereas it's still lesser authority is for view, because we'll let some other people just view it. So they can view it, open it, and the system will open it in read-only mode. So they can view it, but they can't change anything. Still, other people, perhaps outside the bank, outside that particular company, they don't want them to even see what the prices they are using, the rates or the bid offer price, or the bids or rate price, or if I take this thing away, the offer one. If they don't want other people to see this at all, they won't even be able to view it. But the system, AZMAT System, knows what my level of authority is already, which we'll go through later. It knows by my ID. So it knows that I have the authority to not only open it for view, but also to open it for rates edit and file edit. If I did not have that authority, it would actually tell me so that I do not have the authority to do that, so it will not go ahead with the command. I will not be able to open that in Excel. For example, this, you might think, oh, I'll just go ahead and open in Excel outside AZMAT System. Because all these, you will not be able to do so because they all are password protected. So unless you know the password, you won't be able to do that. I mean, you would be, because you are the authorized owner, or authorized user, rather, I should say, of this particular program which you have. So you would be able to open it and do whatever you like. It's on your PC. But you may perhaps not want other people to go and change anything. As in real life, an investment bank, not everybody will be able to do that. So you could let other people have let them use this system, but not, they would not be able to, for example, to change anything, give them authority just for view. But this is all just for educational purposes. Remember, it is for your use only. Right, so let's say, so what it does open the curve for view, and only certain people have the authority to use the command. And the system will display a message if the current user does not have access to this command. Up to 4 curves can be opened. Curves is because it's a yield curve. That's why we're calling it curves. Up to 4 curves, or I should say curve files, if you like, can be kept open for viewing at any given moment. So if they've opened this, they can open another 3 more, but then they can't have any more open. The whole idea is so that one particular user doesn't take up all these curves on their own machine, let others also use it. So when a 5th curve is requested by the user, the system will close the first open curve before opening the new curve. Remember, this is only for viewing only. This command opens the required curve file for viewing only. Note that the file is open in read-only format and is completely protected so that the user is unable to make any changes because it's read-only, and you cannot actually make any changes. So if I try to make any changes, say I try to enter something, I get a message, Excel message, in fact, because it's protected. The cell or chart you're trying to, in this case, because that's the Excel message, not my message, my Excel message. It's not a chart, it's a cell. Trying to change protected and therefore read only. To modify protected cell or chart, first remove protection using the unprotect sheet command, tools menu, protection submenu. You may be prompted for a password. Okay, very helpful message from Excel telling you how you can do that if you want to make any changes. So, but the system, you can be assured in your system there as well. It's normally for rate set people would be able to change it, but if I try to enter, I'll get the same message. So they can't change anything. In fact, they can't even change here. Say blank cell. Same thing. The entire sheet is protected, and you will learn how to do that later on when we actually go further in the system development part of it. How to, for example, let them only change this, but not there, or anywhere here, and so on. And you might also notice that this column here is number 5. So 5, 6, 7, and so on. The first 4 columns 1, 2, 3, 4, are there, but they are used by AZMAT System for various calculations. And so you will be able to, you will learn how to do that as well. And if I try to go there, for example, now I'm on there and I try to, and I'm pressing the left arrow key, the system would not go there. And I can't just push it there. If I try to drag as well, it won't go there. So it's just there. And you'll learn how to do that in later sessions of Excel, AZMAT System rather. So let's just recap. This command opens this command, that is open curve for view, opens the required curve file for view only. Note that the file is open in read-only format and is completely protected so that the user is unable to make any changes. The file shows the state of the curve as at the end of its last edit session. So the last time it was edited. Edited means changed rather. Whether it was open for file edit or rate set it. Rate set it means any area here in yellow, there or there, wherever, that's for rate set it. File edit could be anything, entire file, everything, rows, columns, anything you want could be changed. So this was the last time. It shows, it tells you who saved it. Last time it was saved by A, that's me, it was my initials, that's my user ID. In your case, it will be your user ID because you are the one using. But in real life, if it's being used in an investment bank, there will be several dealers, even maybe 100 or more dealers could be using it at the same time. So when someone opens a view mode, they know exactly who last changed that particular file, whether, and then later on you could also see for we've got I'm using a system where it keeps track of who changed, whether they did a rate set date or file edit and so on, and when. So on 24th of August at 10:59 p.m., user AA had made changes to this particular file. Note that since then, even the file might have been opened by 10, 20 other people. They will all see only when last person had opened for edit, right? Rate set it or file edit. Only that particular user's initials would be there. Maybe there could be several people open in view mode since then, but it doesn't matter because they wouldn't have been able to make any changes, so there's no point making a record of that or keeping a record of that. Right, in this particular command, the user open curve for view, we are doing that. The user is first prompted to enter the file name. If the required curve is a current ZR reference curve, then the user can choose to enter only the 3-character currency code. If you remember, for the ZR USD, I entered well, I didn't enter because it already was prompted with ZR USD. It was already .xls. But for the ZR GBP, this particular curve currently have open here for view only, read only mode, I had entered only GBP when I wanted to edit, or when I opened it full file edit session. So if it's a current, that means ZR reference curve, then the user can choose to enter only the 3-character currency code instead of full file name. So if I enter just the GBP, the AZMAT system will automatically put up the 2 characters beginning ZR, because it's a reference curve, and .xls at the end. So instead of full file, for all other curves, full file name is required. So only for the current ZR reference curves, you can enter the currency. Any other curve, you have to enter the full file name because you could be calling it anything, you know, AA, BB, BC, D, whatever. So you have to enter the full file name. If the required curve is a ZN curve or ZR reference curve, then the curve file is automatically searched in the AZMAT system program directory. Right? So these letters ZR and ZN are reserved for special types of AZMAT system files. So any of your files you want to make, curve file or anything else, please do not use ZR or ZN to begin with for other files. Okay, but if it's ZR or ZN, then the curve file will be searched in the AZMAT system program directory. So if you look at it now, for example, if I want to see now, if I say file open in Excel, I'm just using Excel because I don't have to use only AZMAT system command. I'm actually in Excel. I can use any of these hundreds of Excel commands, as well as up to 200 AZMAT system commands. all at the same time. So if I just show you which directory I am, file open, and this is AZMAT. But note, this AZMAT is from the, I've opened this from the G. So look at it here, G AZMAT, which is not the same as AZMAT program directory, which is under the Excel one. We'll see in a minute. I'll just show you. So it's there. That's where because when you that's where AA.xls, your user files are all stored here. These are your user files. They all begin with, as you can see, with the initials AA. I mean, you could store other files as well here if you want to, but AZMAT System stores user files in a folder or directory called AZMAT under the root directory. So in this case, I've opened this file from G USB stick. That's where the AZMAT System program says it's using the G : AZMAT is the user directory. Now, a very simple way of actually just getting the AZMAT System to change the directory for you, I'll say, right, change to AZMAT program directory. There. If I now go and see file open, here as well you see AZMAT, but this is not under G : AZMAT. This is actually under and this is Excel version 2003. See, I have G : then I have XL 2003. And then underneath that, I have the AZMAT directory or folder, and that's where all the program files are stored. You can see that. All these, up to 100 files or so. All these are AZMAT System program files. It also has subdirectories as well. Again, this whole here, these 2, 3, 5. All these 5 subdirectories, subfolders under the program directory or folder AZMAT. We went through this in another tutorial, so you can go through that. If you watch that, we won't go into that now. Just wanted to show you. There you can see that in here, in this particular folder, ZRGBP, ZRUSD.xls. These are the two we just, in this particular session, opened and saved. There are other there, as you can see, ZRJPY, ZRXEU, other reference curves, the Japanese yen and the euro. And you could have other, there are several currencies. You can have as many as you like, whatever you like. You make your own if you want to. And they will all be stored here if they are reference curves, ZR or ZN. We'll go into the ZN at a later date. Don't want to complicate too many things at the same time. So note that there are reference curves here. If there are if a ZN curve or ZR reference curve, that particular, when I say curve, it's actually a file because it's a yield curve. That's why we call them curve. So reference curve. If that is so, ZN curve or ZR reference curve, those files will be stored here with all the other AZMAT System program files. Any other curve file will be stored elsewhere, not here. You could store them wherever you like on your computer. Okay, let's cancel this. That was just to show you AZMAT System program directory. Now, notice that if you note that when I first checked it, it was in the G : AZMAT. That's where the user directory is. So I'm actually going to change the directory back to because right now I have it here in the program directory. I'll change it back to the user's own directory. Notice we have other directories: AZMAT query file, text file directory, bond database file directory, gentle volatility and correlation files directory. I'm calling DIR directory which is folder. Okay, so think of it as directory. Whenever you see or hear or read in the notes directory, it means same as folder, short dir, or full directory. Okay, I'm going to change it back to users directory. I could actually do it manually. Go a file in Excel, file, and then go and change it. But why bother that? I can just simply do that by simply clicking that command. There, I'm back to the user directory, which I'll just show you again. I'm not changing, it's there. See, under the G, Toshiba. That's the USB stick I have. The other one is Kingston, so I'm not recommending any particular one, whatever. This happens to be there, so it's there. And the G and AZMAT, that's the user directory. And I can just click cancel to come out of. So we are back to user directory. That's where the system, the AZMAT system directory or folder will be when AZMAT system is open, because the user's files all there. And users should really be looking at their own particular files area. That's why I have got that. It's called user's own directory. The program files, AZMAT system knows where to get and where to. It doesn't need you to tell it to open the reference codes from program file. AZMAT system will automatically do so. Any other curve file, remember, any other curve other than ZN or ZR, it will actually ask you to enter the file directory or folder as well. In AZMAT system, certain calculations need to be carried out daily on all rates files before they could be used that day. If a rates file has not been edited and it is open for viewing, the following message is displayed before the file is presented to the user. For example, please note that rates file, for example, ZR Deutschmark ZRDEM.xls needs to be edited today before it can be used in any calculations in AZMAT system. Note we didn't get that message in when we opened the curve ZRGBP or ZRUST.xls. The reason for that is because we did not open for view only before we edited it. First, we edited it both files, ZRUST and ZRGBP. We opened it for file edit session. Then we opened it for viewing. So that because it had already been edited, the system does not need to give that message. However, if I now, just to show you, if I open, we saw that we had a file ZRXEU for euro or ZRJPY for Japanese yen. I'll now use this command, open curve for view, and I'll change the currency to JPY. See, I can use it. Oh, I've entered I use the arrow key instead of moving there. So I'll use that JPY. I'll have to use the mouse rather than the arrow to move, because if I use the arrow, it's actually putting a reference there, which is not what I really want. There. I can enter it here, like capital P, small j, small y. It doesn't matter how I enter it. It'll automatically convert it to JPY. And when you will learn the programming, you will be able to do that very, very easily. So don't make the user do everything. Make it very easy for the user. You can do all this background work later on, and you'll see how. And it's very, very easy to do so for a good programmer. And you will become a good programmer if you want to. So ZRJPY.xls, remember, I'm opening it for view only. And remember, this file has not been edited today. That is 24th of August 2017. So now the system should give me, AZMAT system will give me a message saying, just a reminder, let me know that it has not been edited today. So if I click OK now, and because I have not edited, it'll open it for view, ZRJPY, seats automatically converted, all nice to capital letters, ZRJPY.xls manual file. Says, please note that the rates file, ZRJPY.xls manual, because there is a live file as well. So this is the manual file, needs to be edited today before it can be used in any calculations in AZMAT system. This is not done by Excel. This is done by the programmer. Okay, you have to take care of this. You check it and then say, right, give this helpful message to the user if you want to, or maybe you don't bother. In which case, they might just simply go ahead and say, oh yes, that's current rate, it's current price. I can trade on this. That's not the way to do it. And notice, okay, so I'll just click OK, finish. And notice this is the ZRJPY, and this has only 8 futures reference curve for Japanese yen. But it could be different. You could do whatever you like, and you can notice that the spread here is all 0 all the way up to here, and then 0.05 and so on. Okay, that was just to show you that if it's not been edited, the AZMAT system will let the user know. So I'm just going to close this one now. So I'll just use that. Close current file, do not save any changes. So I don't want it to give me and asking me messages. So I just use that particular command. Okay, if I say close current file, do not save any changes, it'll just do that without asking. If I use close current curve, then it'll ask me various other, possibly other questions I don't want to particularly answer. There's no point. Okay, let's go on this. Close and reopen curve, second one. It closes the current curve file and then reopens for view. This command is designed to be used in the following circumstances. 1. To view the latest version of the curve which is currently active. Right? Because I might, for example, in this AZMAT system is designed, remember, for multi-user system. In an investment bank, you could be one of the several dealers or traders. There could be 20, 30, 100 other dealers on the same floor or anywhere, even in different countries or continents even. It's true because when you have 2:30 p.m., say in London, New York opens. So at say 3 o'clock London time, New York market is already open as well. So people from different continents could be trading, but using the same curve file for the same bank, obviously. So it is very valid here. You want to know, for example, what's the current active, what the latest version is. You want to see. Maybe someone in New York has changed it while you're trading in London, or in New York they want to check while London is trading, someone within their own company, the bank, that somebody might have changed something. So if you want to see the very latest version, then you'd use that command. You're looking at it, but then you want to see that maybe 2 minutes later, has someone changed something? Maybe someone has opened it for edit, changed some prices, 1 or 2 prices, and then closed it. So you want to see the latest, then you would say close and reopen curve. So as I said, for example, when a curve is updated, i.e. edited by any user, the new information is available only to those who open that curve after the end of that edit session. So supposing you have got, let's say, 20 people in your bank here in this particular office using it, and you have seen here, this was last said by AA, 24th August. I'll close this to read the time as well there. But since then, maybe someone else, another user, is open and edited. I change some information, maybe just these some prices here, and closed it. But you would not know that if you had already opened it before that particular person had. So I'll give you an example. At 10:59 p.m., AA had saved it, changed it. At 11, you opened it for viewing, so you've got that information. At say 10 minutes past 11, another user opened it, made some changes, opened for edit, because you're only looking for view only, and saved it. So you will not have that later information if you had just simply kept it open for viewing only at 11. The changes that were made at 11. However, say at 11:15, 10 minutes after you open the file, you want to see if someone else has made any changes. All you do is go in here quickly, close and reopen. So it'll close that curve and open. So this time, if someone had made changes from the time you at the time you last opened, between the time you last opened and now, that information will be available. It will have the latest version. So the user who has changed it at 11, those changes will now be shown on your screen because you are opening it at say 11:15. So I hope it is clear. If not, please look back at the video again. Very, very simple. But if you would like to, I will explain these in the live webinars. So just to recap, for example, when a curve is edited by any user, the new information is available only to those who open that curve, after the end of that edit session. So if you open any curve for race edit, which is all the area in yellow, or file edit, which could be anything, everything to do in the curve, do save it as quickly as you can, because other people who open it for view only, then they will get that later information. So when you open it for edit or file edit or race edit, don't keep it on your screen too long, longer than necessary. Don't keep it for even a minute longer than necessary. Close it using the Save Curve Changes command, and then by all means open it for open it for view, so that other people, it gives other people an opportunity to do any changes. If they want to make any changes, they can use it they can open it for rates or file edit, or they can then have the latest version, the whatever you made changes. So all other users who had opened that curve before the edit, or before that the editor, right, will still be viewing information prior to the edit session, unless the curve is closed and reopened. That's one circumstance. The second circumstance when you will be this command is designed for is at the end of an edit session, this command should be used if the curve is required to be kept open by the editor. So if you've opened curve for race edit or file edit, and when you finished editing, you could just say close and reopen curve. So this will allow other authorized users to edit that curve if they so wished. It'll open for you in read-only mode, for viewing only, after you finish your edit session. Instead of saying, using Save Curve Changes, I could say, right, open for curve for race edit, file edit, and then say close and reopen curve. So this when it will reopen, it will not open for another session of race or file edit, because that will be meaningless. It will then open it for view only. It'll save the changes and then open for view only. And that will allow other people in your company who are using it to open for file edit or rates edit. Furthermore, Note that until an edit session is finished properly, that is using one of AZMAT system commands. You have to use one of the relevant AZMAT system commands for that particular curve. Until you've done that, any changes to that curve cannot be used in AZMAT system by anybody, not just you. So even if the changes to the file are saved by using an Excel command. This I had explained in another session, but it is very important to note that. So if you open the curve for rates edit or file edit, and you make changes, and use Excel file save command or save as, whatever you use it. Save obviously is going to save it with the same file name. Yes, Excel will work. Excel will save that file with that name. But I'm afraid AZMAT system will not use that file with those changes you've made. Nor will anyone else be able to use that curve with those changes. It will still use the original file as it was before your edit session. So if you want yourself and other people to use the file, the curve with the changes you've made, you have to use one of these AZMAT system commands. For example, save curve changes, or close and reopen, in which case it will save and reopen the curve in view-only mode. So you see, although AZMAT system commands are here with all the Excel commands, there are about 200 AZMAT system commands, all available here. But until you actually do that, until you use one of the AZMAT system commands, proper AZMAT system commands, to save that particular curve, even though physically that file has been changed, and the new changed file is there actually on your in your AZMAT system program directory or folder, but AZMAT system will not use those. Any command used outside the AZMAT system command is very important. You have to use AZMAT system command because it's keeping track of exactly what's happening, who's changing the file, who is and what time. It is very important because someone changes these prices, for example. They're trading in an investment bank. People are trading millions of dollars, literally millions of dollars worth of bonds based on these prices. So we cannot have someone just going around and changing it at will without anyone knowing. That's why it is so important that AZMAT system keeps track of and keeps full control of which file is used by other traders, by all traders, in fact, traders and dealers in an investment bank. So it's not just a simple system. You can just say, okay, I'll just open this file, I'll make these changes and save it, and all other people will use that file. No, it will not. You have to use one of the AZMAT system commands, I'm afraid, and then you'll see. And you will be able to program that much control of your system, basically, so that, and the people would really be able to have faith in your system. They know that the files they're using has the correct data entered by people who have the authority to change that information. Okay, I hope I've made it very clear, but that is how you would be able to do within AZMAT system. So let's go to the next command. So that was close. You can save curve changes. We have used this command at least on 2 occasions today. In other tutorials as well, we've used it several times. Save curve changes. It saves the curve changes at the end of rates edit or file edit session. Note that it will not actually do anything here. If you open the curve for view only and say save curve changes, it's meaningless because you've opened it for view only. You haven't been able to make it. AZMAT system doesn't allow you to make any changes. Like here, if I want to change something, I can't because I've actually opened it for, it's all protected. User can't change anything. So you will use save curve changes at the end of a rate edit or file edit. AZMAT system carries out various checks on the entire curve data. See, doesn't, even if you make some changes here, just price it slightly here and there, it'll carry out various checks on the entire whole curve file. The curve data, on the entire curve data, and only if all the checks are successful, performs various calculations on the data. Does various checks on the entire curve, and if all those checks are successful, then it performs various calculations on the data. If anything is wrong, it will tell you. And you can do, later on, perhaps we'll go through these by making some silly mistakes, if you like, and see that it will actually come up with that, but not right now. Right now, I'm just going through all these commands. We'll have plenty of time, plenty of tutorials going through those. Deliberately make mistakes and see if AZMAT system spots them. Right, the new version of the curve and results of the calculations are then available to all users. So that's why I'm saying here, when you save curve changes, at the end of that, when set is all done, it means it has actually done all the checks, and the file is now available to all the users, say in an investment bank, wherever in the world they are, New York, London, Tokyo, or wherever. They can use that file, knowing that all those checks have been made since the file was last changed by that user on that date, at that point, at that time. Okay. So the new version of the curve and results of the calculations are then available to all users. Note that the curve file is closed by AZMAT system at the end of this command. So when you say save curve changes, it does save it, does all those calculations, then closes the file. Unless, of course, if the user had used this command, previous one, close and reopen curve, then it will do all those changes and then open it in view only, in view mode. So the current user, the editor, the one who is the person who's just opened for rates edit or file edit, can also then view it, open the curve for that particular user, so that particular user can view it only. So at the end of this command, other authorized users are free to edit that curve. So once the particular current editor has said, right, save curve changes, other authorized users. Remember, the keyword is authorized users. So not everybody in the bank, in an investment bank, for example, will be able to open it for race edit or file edit. Only certain users have been, those who have been given the authority to do race edit, they can do that. A higher authority is required for file edit, because file edit means they could make any changes to the file, anything whatsoever. So most senior people have that authority. Junior ones have that, and even less junior ones will be able to only view it, open the curve for view only. They can't make any changes. So the one we are looking right now, save curve changes. So at the end of this command, other authorized users are free to edit that curve if they so wished. Furthermore, note that until an edit session is finished properly by using one of the relevant AZMAT system commands, any changes to that curve cannot be used in AZMAT system by anybody, even if the changes to the file are saved by using an Excel command. Okay, as I said that before. You can try that if you like. Try that and see what happens. So you open a curve, open this race edit or file edit, make some changes, and then save it using Excel command, Excel file save, right? And then see if you want to use that particular file in any calculation, see what happens. That's probably the best way to do so. And you'll see that, and then you'll actually have to do, we'll see later on what happens. Right, now the next command here is close current curve. Close this current curve file. This command would most likely be used to close a curve file which is open for viewing. User is required to confirm this command before it's actually carried out. Right? For example, this one, I've opened ZRGBP, view only. I could just say close current file. I won't do it right now because I may perhaps need to, I'd rather have this one, this curve file open while I'm talking about the curve menu here in here, curve commands, instead of, for example, the user file here. This is more for calculations. So I don't want to use for, or either actually using the curve file. So I'd rather have curve file in here open in the background. So let's continue with this. So I won't close that, but I could use this for this particular one. Close current curve, because I'd open it for viewing, and that's where you'll most likely use it. Close current curve. And you just have to confirm that you actually want to close it. Whereas if you say, close current file, do not save any changes, it won't ask you to confirm it, just simply close it. If this command is used at the end of an edit session, for example, right? If you just say close current curve at the end of an edit session, which is different. AZMAT system asks the user whether or not any changes to the curve file should be saved. What happens next depends entirely on what is required by the user. So if you open the curve for race edit, file edit, if you say save curve changes, then you know that you want, AZMAT system knows you want to save the curve changes. But it still gives you an option whether you want to save the curve change, go ahead or cancel the entire session. Whereas if you use close current curve at the end of either race edit or file edit, it asks the user whether or not you want to save the curve file, any changes should be saved, and what happens next really depends entirely on what is required by the user. You can choose what you want to do. At the end of an edit session, it might be quicker to use the following commands instead. If any changes to the curve are to be saved, use save curve changes command, right? Because you know you want to save changes, say so. Use the appropriate command, save curve changes. Or if any changes to the curve are to be discarded, use close current file, do not save changes. Right? This is simpler. If you already know, so you open the curve for race edit or file edit. If you don't want to save any changes to that file, use this command. It's much quicker. You're telling AZMAT system, you want to close the current file, do not save any changes. You already said so you don't want it. If you say you want to save changes, use that command. Whereas if you use this close current curve at this particular point in time, AZMAT system can't guess what's on your mind. So it has to ask you, and you have to specifically say so. So specify whether you want to save changes or discard changes and so on. So it's quicker to use that if you want to save changes. quicker to use that if you want to discard any changes. Next command. We come here, save curve changes. We have already done that. So the next one now, after that, we say close current file, do not save changes. Close this current file without saving any changes. This command closes the currently active file. Remember, currently active file is not just the curve file, not just the ZR, these files, or these reference curve file. Could be any file, any of your files you're using. You can make it quicker if you just want to make sure that it's all the whatever changes you made, they're not saved. Use that command. Close current file. Remember, it says file. Does not say curve. So file could be a curve as well, but it could be any file. It does not have to be a curve file. So it closes. This command closes currently active file. Means the file you are currently on here, on the front, at the time you use the command. Okay, that it means currently active file, without saving any changes. The user is required to confirm this command before it's actually carried out, because this is quite a drastic command, if you like. That is, close it, don't save any changes. You may have used it by mistake, so it won't just go ahead and close it. So it will ask you to confirm that. Note that if a file has already been saved since it was opened, this command can be used to discard only those changes which were made since the file was last saved. So, for example, you open your file, some whatever file. I mean, we're not talking about the curve file here. Any other file, you've opened it and used the Excel file save command. So those changes are already saved. Right? This is any file. We're not talking about curve file. Any file you made changes, you saved it. Then, at that point, then after making changes, you make some more changes. So, Excel, rather the AZMAT system, do not save any changes. It will not be able to. It will only be able to discard the changes since you last saved that file. Not before you made those changes there the first time when you saved it. That will only happen, that much control only applies to the reference curve files. Right? The curve files, that's what is really keeps track. It does not keep track of every single file you opened and make changes, save it, and then make some more changes and want to restore it to the original version before you open it. That functionality is only available for the curve files, reference curve files, and so on. Next command is, we go here, open curve for rates edit. Now we have done that file edit several times. You can do rates edit, you'll open it. So open curve for rates edit. Enter currency name, file name, and file directory or folder. Please note that only certain people have the authority to use this command. AZMAT system displays a message if the current user does not have access to this command. Now note that there's this open curve for rates edit, open curve for file edit. The only difference is for rates edit, you can only change the area in yellow. In this case, happens to be the bid price column. In some other curve, it might be offer price and the spread instead of the bid price and the spread is here. In which case, that would be yellow, the column, and this column would be blue. But this lot, these three rows here, this yellow area will always be the same in every single curve. So when you say open curve for rates edit, what you mean. The only difference here is we are going to open it in here. I'm just actually going to make this particular file because this scroll bar not available. I'm just going to quickly arrange there. So I have got my scroll bars back here. That's only because I have changed the size of the Excel here, Excel program system. So I have here, so the rates area. So when you open the curve for rates, edit, it means you can only change anything in yellow. Okay, there, all that lot and this lot. You can't change anything else. When you open curve for file edit, you can change anything in the file. You can change, insert more rows, delete rows, delete columns if you so wish. I don't know why you would do that, but because it won't be a reference curve, won't be a curve file anymore. But you can do anything you like. But then that authority is not given to just anybody. Remember, people are in an investment bank, dealers and traders. They are using these curve files to trade millions, yes, millions of dollars worth of bonds. So you would not be changing just for fun. So only people who have authority to change the file structure, everything, to insert more rows, more futures if you like, or delete some futures and so on, or anything else here. All these things have been gone. We've gone through in other tutorials. We're not going to go through this now. Only those people have the authority to change the curve, open the curve for file edit. Lesser authority people is given for people they can only change for rates edit, because they can then only senior dealers or traders know that the only thing they can do is actually change these prices, bid prices or offer prices, depending on what is available here, and the offer spread and the range. For the spread range, non-feature price range, feature price range. Feature price range is there, as you can see from here. Futures are in this particular curve, 1 to 12. It means this. There. Right? The spread, sorry, feature actually in this case, the bid price will be there from there to there. For those futures, I can't change the offer one. They can only change the bid because that's what is designed for this particular curve file. Remember, other curve files may be designed to change the offer price instead of the bid price, in which case the bid price column would be blue with the formula in there, and the offer price would be yellow. So you'll be able to change the offer price, and the bid price will be calculated by AZMAT System. So the future price range, it means here, as you can see, it has to be, the range is between 90 and 99. Because by mistake, if one of the dealer or trader by mistake entered some wrong number, so system will spot that and let them user know at the end of the edit session that they made a mistake. It's outside the range. We won't go through this right now in this tutorial. We will go through these in later tutorials. And so non-feature price range means the non-feature price range is between 1 and 9, and means anything outside the futures area. So this, that, and then from here below to the end of the curve. So from there to the non-feature price range is that and that. Feature price range is that to there, from there to there, because that's where the futures are. Futures, FU, futures. First future all the way up to 12th future. Okay, hopefully that is clear. Future price ranges, that they can change. Launch and future price ranges from there to there and from there onwards. And the other thing they can change is the spread range, which is in here minus 0.05 to plus 0.05. So the spread range is there, all the way from there to there. I put it up a bit so you can see that. So the spread range is there from all the way from there to there. Notice some of these are minus. They are plus, but all the features are minus. Again, we're not going to go into that right now. But that's the spread range. That's what it means. That's what AZMAT System checks here to make sure that all these calculations, and before it carries out the calculations, all these other things, first thing it does is checks these things are in order. Okay, so we have back to the particular command. Now, most of these, the two commands, OpenCurve for rates edit and OpenCurve for file edit, are almost exactly, the description is the same. So I'm not going to go through both of these separately. I'll cover both at the same time and simply point out the difference. As we have gone through quite comprehensively, I hope you fully understand the difference between rates edit and file edit. So when a dealer or trader opens it for rates edit, they can only change the area in yellow. There. Open for file edit, they can do anything to the file, change anything and everything to that particular file. So for rates edit, we'll very briefly go through that. The first part is exactly the same for file edit or rates edit, entering the file name. And the second part is also the same. I'm just going to read one and point out any difference. This command opens any curve from a given curve area. So remember, curve means a curve file because it's a yield curve. And a given curve area means the actual folder or directory where that particular curve file is stored. So it can open it from anywhere on your computer system. It doesn't have to be in the program file area, it doesn't have to be in the user area, it could be anywhere. As long as you give the actual folder name or directory name, it will open it from there, if it exists, of course. The user is prompted to enter full name of the required curve file. And also the curve area, but only for non-reference curves, remember. Reference curves are opened only from the AZMAT System program directory, as we went through this before. ZR-GBP, ZR-US dollar, all these are reference curves. They will be opened from the AZMAT System program directory. They are stored there, and they can only be opened from there. All other curves can be opened from anywhere else, anywhere on your computer system. You can store them in your reference in the program system file if you want to, but I'd advise you not to. I'd advise you to keep them in some other, either in your user area or maybe make another folder or directory on your computer system, if you like, and use them all in one place. But you have to give the name. If it's not a reference curve, you have to give the name of the folder or directory where it's actually stored. But the reference curves, you do not have a choice. It will only, AZMAT System will only open it from the AZMAT System program directory or folder. The curve area is the full path name of the directory or folder, including the drive letter Remember, this could be on the A, drive A, C, D, or whatever, wherever it is stored, you have to give the letter of the drive as well, where that required curve file resides. An error message displayed if the given directory did not exist. So if you just give any directory and the non-existent directory, it will tell you. So it will check if it exists or not. So before it will even open it, it will actually look for that directory, see if it exists, and it'll tell you if there is an error. It doesn't exist. AZMAT System then attempts to open the required curve file from the given area if the directory exists. Again, if an error message is displayed if the above file does not exist in the given area. So two things it does. First thing is checks that particular folder or directory. I'm calling it curve area, including the drive letter you have to give. If that doesn't exist, it will give you an error message, say so. If the actual folder exists, directory or folder exists, but the file doesn't exist, then it'll give you an error message for that and tell you that that particular file does not exist. Note, at any given time, only one person can open a file and save any changes over the original file. For all other users, that file will be opened as read-only. So the first person, say if you've got 100 traders or dealers in this particular investment bank, and person A opens, let's not say person A, let's say person D opens that file to make changes, file rates edit or file edit, and then person A wants to open it for that. It'll say so that person D has already opened it for rates edit or file edit, so anyone else can only open it for view only. Can't open it for, two people cannot open it for rates edit at the same time. So any changes to this file will not take effect, as we have said so many times before, even if the file is saved by using Excel file save command, unless an AZMAT System command is used at the end of the editing session. Okay, so I won't go through that again. So when you open curve for rates edit, file edit, you have to use one of these AZMAT System commands. Save curve changes, close, reopen, and so on. Using Excel file save command will not make those changes available to any user in that company. Not just you, any user cannot use those changes. They will still be able to use only the original version before you open the file edit, before you made any changes. So you have to use AZMAT System command at the end of the file edit or rates edit command in order for those changes to be used by other people or yourself on that computer system. When a curve file is opened, now from here it's different. The file edit and rates edit are different from here onwards. So I'm going to go through the rates edit command first. The changes are these. So when a curve file is opened for rates edit, only the following areas can be changed. Rates edit, as you've said before, future price range, non-future price range, the spread range, upper and lower limits. So only the following areas can be changed, right? Upper and lower limits, upper limit, lower limit, upper limit, lower limit, and so on. So you can change those things. And column containing values for bid offer spread is spread between bid and offer values. So the column, this is the column, spread column. That's the spread between bid and offer values. So you have the bid 3, offer 3.0625, spread is 0.063. It's actually showing here as up to 3 decimal places. That's why it's showing as 0.063. It's actually 0.0625. That's why the offer is that 3 plus 0.0625, and that is 3.0625. So the offer is bid plus the spread, that. So 3.125 plus 0.0625 is, if you add the here, if you look at it this say, you've got the 5, 3.1875. 3.1 and 6 plus 2 is 8, 3.18. And then because this is actually 2.5, 5 plus 2 is 7. And then the 5 here instead of 3 is 2.5. So that is that 5. So that's why it's 3.1875. So the columns, so you can change. So when the curve file is open for rate setup, you can change these areas we've said before, yellow. This is spread column, bid offer spread, and a column containing values for bid rate price or offer rate price, depending on whether the curve file was set up for received data in the column for bid price or offer price. Right, so we've been through this here before. Whether this particular curve is designed so that you can enter the bid rate or price. So this column you can change. This column you can change. And these values you can change when you open the curve for rate setting. Now we'll go into when you open the curve for file edit. When you open the curve for file edit, entire file can be changed, including the value of defined name bid1 underscore offer 0. We'll go through it in a minute later. User is also free to add or delete any rows. Right? You can add or delete any rows, insert rows, delete rows, and so on. Not just for futures, you could do it here as well, swaps maybe, whatever you like, or cash flows, could be more cash flows, so on. So they will be able, can do whatever they like when they open a curve for file edit. The defined name, the value of the defined name bid1 offer 0 basically means when is the bid1 offer 0, when the value of that name is 1, bid rate price column is used for data entry. When the value of that bid1 underscore offer 0, we will go into that later on in some other value, in later session later, what it is. We have actually gone through it before in another tutorial, but we will go through again. But at this point, I just want to go through these commands to show you what you can change and not go through all the names. So there's a function, there's a range name called bid1 underscore offer 0. So when that value of that name is 1, it means that the bid price is entered. When it's 0, it means the offer price is entered. So at the end of each file edit session, AZMAT System checks the values of all defined names, and in case of an error, the message is displayed. If bid1 offer 0 is equal to 1, bid rate price column is used for data entry. And AZMAT System enters a formula formula. It enters a formula to calculate and display the values in the offer rate price column. Remember, even if you make any changes in here, you're not meant to. Or in a file edit, you can. Theoretically, you can. Practically, you can. But AZMAT system will ignore those changes. And depending on the name of that particular variable called bid1 underscore offer 0, depending on the value of that, it will enter a formula. So if that bid1 underscore offer 0, if the value of that is 1, it will assume that you have entered the bid rates of price, this column, and calculate this column by entering a formula in each cell in this column. If that value of that name is 0, then it will assume that you have entered the value here in this column and calculate these values in this column by entering a formula here. So that deals with the curves for open, curve for race edit, and file edit. Now let's just do curve file calc. If you use this particular command, when you use this command, see what happens. Curve file calc, enter currency name or file name and file directory. So basically, only certain people, as you know, as all these commands, various commands have certain people can have the authority to use this command. Right? AZMAT system displays a message if the current user does not have access to this command. You don't have access, it will say so. You don't have access to this command. Depending on your authority level within the company. In your case, obviously, when you're using it, you are the user. You will have the top user level. Make sure that you have it. Or you can keep the user level. You can change your user level to a lower level and see whether actually it lets you do the file edit or race edit or not. So, but normally you would have the top authority. Like in my case, I have the authority, top level authority. I can do anything I like. I can change the race edit and change the file. I can use the curve file calc and everything. It's not just for these commands, it's for many other commands as well. Only certain people can carry out certain commands. So curve file calc, only certain people have the authority to use this command. So this command carries out the required daily calculations on a given curve file without opening and presenting it to the user, and therefore should only be used when no changes are required to be made on the curve file. See? So for example, you don't want to make any file change. You don't want to make any changes to this particular file. For example, file edit. You don't want to insert more rows or delete rows. And you don't want to make any changes to the prices either, or the spread, or the range. Range particularly, you would not change it on a daily basis. You'd leave that there, sunset. And normally on a daily basis, more likely you'll change actually either the prices or the actual spread. So most likely, on most days, you probably think, right, okay, nothing else has changed for this particular currency. Note this, it's not the same for every currency. Certain currencies, they will not change for maybe a few days. So you won't change anything. So rather than open the curve for rates edit or file edit, you can just say curve file calc, telling AZMAT system to take the last file, because you'll note that you cannot, after, on every day, every curve file which you're using has to be calculated because AZMAT system has to carry out various calculations, not just to check whether the data is within this range, but all these dates, maturity dates column, and the other price, because you're only entering either the bid price or the offer price, needs to calculate the other. And also the mid price as well. And various other calculations. There's lots and lots of calculations are being carried out in the background. So all those calculations have to be carried out every single day. So in here, for example, right now, we have just gone past midnight. As you can see that it's now 25th of August, the date. So if I go back here, it's not displaying. Very odd, you might say. Okay, it's 25th of August. Just going to do that again. Should display. It did display for a minute, but this is now, for some reason, it's not displaying. Okay, it's 25th of August. It's nearly 27, 28 minutes past midnight. So if I wanted to use this curve now, it will not let me use it. In fact, if I actually say right now, I open this curve, let's say I close it, close the current file, do not save it, and I'll try and open it again. See what happens. GBP. It will tell me that this has not been calculated today. So if I open the curve for view only, note I'm not actually even doing any calculations. I'll open the GBP. JPY was there, which I'd last used to open, but GBP. So open that curve for view only, right? I'm only opening for view only, just to look at it. But because it's gone past midnight, and now on the 25th of August, I'm going to save that in a minute, so you'll see it's past midnight. I'm on 25th of August, so if I open it, it'll tell me it has not been calculated today. Yeah. Note that race file GBP manual needs to be edited today before it can be used in any calculations in AZMAT system. Right? So it's not. Will it show me now this time? Decided not to show. Okay, fine. Let's go in there and I'll show you that. Let's just save this one. If I say save AZMAT data file, it'll put in the current date and time there, 25th of August, 12:28 a.m. So now, because we are on another day, different day, past midnight, so this GBP, which was last calculated at 10:59 p.m. on 24th of August, it cannot be used in today, on 25th of August. 25th of August, 12:28 a.m. It cannot be used unless those calculations are carried out first. So those calculations must be carried out before it can be used. Similar thing will apply to the US dollar curve, which we had calculated on 24th of August, around that time. So the curve file calc command, you'll use it when you don't actually need to make any changes to the file structure or race. So instead of opening it for race edit or file edit, you could just simply say, do the calculations on that particular curve file without opening it for the user. So it's slightly quicker, obviously, because you don't need to go through opening it and do this check, do that check. You just open it as you're telling AZMAT system to open it, and then, sorry, not open it in here for the user, just carry out those calculations. So this command carries out the required daily calculations on a given curve file without opening and presenting it to the user, and therefore should only be used when no changes are required to be made on the curve file. For example, use this command on a curve file when neither the curve is structure nor the previous rates or prices need to be changed, and only the daily calculations need to be carried out. Okay, so you'll use this command curve file calc when you don't want to change anything at all in the file. Neither any of these rows, inserting rows, deleting rows, or any of these prices, any of these values, I should say, need to be changed, don't need to be changed. Then you'll just simply say curve file calc, give the file name, and AZMAT System will carry them out without opening the file and presenting it to you. So this command carries out the required calculations on any curve, right? Not just the reference curve, on any curve file, if you like, from a given curve area. Curve area is the directory or folder name, including the drive letter. Remember that. So the user is prompted to enter full name of the required curve file and also the curve area for non-reference curves. See, for non-reference curves, you have to give the curve area as well. Whereas reference curves are opened only from the AZMAT System program directory or folder. The curve area is the full path name of the directory or folder, including the drive letter, where the required curve file resides. An error message is displayed if the given directory or folder did not exist. AZMAT System then begins the required calculations on the curve file. An error message is displayed if either the above file did not exist in the given area or there was something wrong with the curve data. Okay, so if you've got a curve data, say your curve file, you made some changes and you just simply, those changes are wrong. Something is wrong. For example, even just the range, if it's wrong outside the range, then the range you have given, it'll actually then give you that error message, say that there is a, while it's doing the calculations, it will do that. So as instance begins, so if the file exists in the given curve area, then it begins the required calculations on the curve file. So an error message is displayed if either the above file did not exist in the given area or there was something wrong with the curve data. If no errors are encountered during the calculations, the curve file is saved and is then available for use on that day in any evaluation calculations by any user. Okay. So, next command, open curve for rates edit. So we've done that. We have done that as well. I'm afraid I went back to the wrong one. So 7, 8, 9, 10. Reset the curve file. Now this is a very special command. So we have not covered it at all. So we'll just go through it again. Not again, we'll go through it quite in detail. Reset curve file. Resets curve means curve file, to undo last edit, or if last edit session ended abruptly. So, for example, you opened a curve for rates edit or file edit, and without using one of these AZMAT System commands rather, without using AZMAT save curve changes or close curve file, do not save changes, and so on, any of these AZMAT system commands, you simply said, right, I'll open the curve for race edit or file edit and use Excel file close command. And of course, Excel, if you made any changes, say, oh, do you want to save changes? You said no, cancel it, or you saved it. So even though you haven't saved any, even though you haven't made any changes, but if you just simply close that file, remember, AZMAT System keeps track of every single file that is open for in the curve files, open for race edit, file edit, or view only, who opened it, on what date and what time they made any changes, and so on. So if you just simply use Excel, because you are open, you have access to Excel commands as well, and you simply closed it. So the edit, or at the edit session, something else went wrong, somewhere else you were doing something, maybe the Excel, something suddenly, your computer system suddenly stopped working, or whatever. If the session ended abruptly, then this command is the one to use. It's the last edit session. So resets the curve to undo. It undoes, if you like, I'll say. So resets the curve file to undo last edit, or if last edit session ended abruptly. So even if you've opened the curve, I said, right, open the curve for race edit or file edit, and use the save curve changes command, right? Saved it, file. Everybody else can use that file. And maybe you didn't notice, someone else, another user, noticed that you have made something which is not right. Right? For example, you made some prices which is, although it's within the range, but it's not really the correct price that the bank, that particular investment bank, should be using. Or you've entered some futures which some other users don't agree with, that they should be there. Whatever, any changes you've made, something, whatever, and that session has to be undone. That's the time you will use the reset curve file. Okay, so it'll basically undo the last edit session. So AZMAT System not only keeps track of when you use Excel commands to save the file, but also its own commands. If you use it, it keeps track of the previous version of the file as well, and resets the curve to that particular version, even though you've used the AZMAT System commands. If you notice that there was something wrong, that those last edits should not have been done. So you can undo that last edit, race edit or file edit, by using the reset curve command. So this command opens. So let's just recap again. Resets curve to undo last edit, or if last edit session ended abruptly. Please note that only certain people have the authority to use this command. So even more senior people would be allowed to use that particular command. Certainly not anyone who is on the Open Curve review. More likely, Open Curve for file edit, possibly some people who are allowed to do the race edit may be able to use that, but more likely that, or even senior people. And of course, AZMAT System displays a message if the current user does not have access to this command. This command opens any curve from a given curve area in order to reset its edit status. User is prompted to enter full name of the required curve file and also the curve area for non-reference curves. Reference curves are open only from the AZMAT System program directory. And the other bit is also very similar here. Curve is the full path name of the directory, including the drive letter where the curve file, required curve file resides. An error message displayed if the given directory or folder does not exist. AZMAT System then attempts to open the required curve file from the given area. An error message displayed if the above file did not exist in the given area. After a series of messages are displayed, the curve file is opened for a file edit session. From this point onwards, the command then follows the same pattern as if the relevant curve file was opened for a file edit session. Okay, so there are various series of messages you will get. We will go through this command later in a different tutorial. Then you'll see. In fact, we'll go through almost all these commands one by one to see, so you can see what the differences are. At any given time, only one person can open a file and save any changes over the original file. For all other users, the file will be opened as read-only. Remember that. Any changes to this file will not take effect even if the file is saved by using XL file save command, unless an AZMAT System command is used at the end of the editing session. When a curve file is opened for file edit, the entire file can be changed, including the value of the defined name bid1_offer0. The user is also free to add or delete any rows. At the end of each file edit session, AZMAT System checks the values of all defined names, and in case of an error, a message is displayed. If bid1_offer0 is equal to 1, if bid1_offer0 is equal to 1, bid rate price column is used for data entry, and AZMAT System enters a formula to calculate and display the values in the offer column. So even if you enter any values here, it will override those and enter a formula in each cell to calculate the values using the bid prices and the spread column. If bid1_offer0, the value of that is equal to 1. That's what it will do. Enter the formula and calculate this. If the value of that variable is 0, it will use that column and that to calculate, enter a formula in this column to use that. Right? But when it's yellow here, that means bid1_offer0 is equal to 1. Next command, status of current curve file. Displays edit information about currently active curve file in detail. Okay. So this is the zrgbp.xls I have here. And if I use this command can be used to quickly find the current status of a given curve before it's open for editing, for example. Okay. So for example, you are looking at it now, view only, and you want to edit the status of the current curve file. You want to open it because remember, last person is here, it keeps an information here. Last it was edited by AA on that date at this time. So if you want to quickly know, it says current curve file, whether someone else is probably editing right now. So instead of using that command and finding that someone else using, you can quickly use this command to check who else is using it, or whether it's open even or not by somebody else. So this command can be used to quickly find the current status of a given curve before it is open for editing, for example. So if you want to make any changes or open the file for race edit or file edit, and you have the authority to do so, then you can use this command. Not that you can still, anyone can use it. You can basically, that's when it will be more appropriate for you to quickly check to see who else has opened it for editing. The curve file must be open, most likely for viewing, and currently selected at the time this command is used. Okay, so you have to have this because the command says the status of the current curve file. So it has to be the current file here open. Then AZMAT System use that name, knows without asking you the file name, it knows that's the file you want to choose. And it has to be a curve file, obviously, because it's saying current curve file. User is not prompted for any information. Instead, a message is displayed about the currently selected curve file. If zrgbp.xls was open for viewing and selected by the user, as we have in this case, a message containing the latest information about zrgbp.xls is displayed. For example, zrgbp.xls is currently available for editing. It was last edited on such and such date between the hours of that and that by the ID of the editor, full name of the editor. Okay, so you have the ID, the 2 letters, and also the full name of the editor. And it will say, so it was last edited on what date, and not just one time, but also the time when it was opened and closed at the end of the edit session. The two times. If this command is used on a file which is not a valid AZMAT System rates file, AZMAT System displays an error message and ends the command. So if you say status of current curve file on a file which is not a curve file, it will give you an error message. So let's say we go here on this, and if I say status of it is of current curve file, A.xls, AZMAT System knows it's not a curve file. Right, so it will should give me an error message, just current curve file. Right, A.xls does not appear to be a valid AZMAT System rates file. AZMAT System cannot therefore continue with the current command. Finish. So if you use a command which doesn't make any sense, it'll say so. If I come down on zrgbp, and here, now if I use it, it should tell me exactly who is using it and what, so on. When it was last open for editing. So let's say status current curve file. It is a proper curve file, reference curve file. So it won't ask me the name of the file. It knows it's a curve file. We'll see later on how it knows in later tutorials. It's not just going by the name only. Remember that. Status current curve file. AZMAT zrgbp is currently available for editing. Well, why is it available for editing? Is because I'm the only user right now, and I've opened for read-only, so it is available for editing. It was last edited on 24th August, there it is, and it was 17, between 10:57 p.m. and 10:59 p.m. So I had used here. I had opened at 10:57, and I finished the editing at 10:59, so that's why it's got the 10:59 p.m. when it was finished editing. But in this status, it gives me the actual time when I opened it and when I closed it, ended the edit session by AA. And here it has full name AZMAT Ali. So AA are my initials, I'm using it. That's that. So you don't have to guess what the initials mean. So if you have it forever, GE, for example, it will tell you the full name as well of that person. So you'll be able to simply, if they are within your company in the same large hall room, you'll be able to call them, ask them to close it. I want to change it now. Finish your editing session, whatever. That's the idea. So that's what actually this command does. Status of current curve. Next one, we go to a status of any curve file. So the status current curve file, you have to have a curve file have to be actively open and the active file when you use that. Whereas status of any curve file, this displays edit information about any curve file in detail, GIF file name, etc. Please note that only certain people have the authority to use this command. AZMAT System displays a message if the current user does not have access to this command. This command can be used to quickly find the current status of a given curve file before it's open for editing or viewing. The curve file may or may not be open at the time of this command by any user of AZMAT System. So it doesn't have to be opened by you. For example, in here, if I see here, I don't have the ZR US dollar file open. So let's go and find the status of ZRUSD.XLS. So that file is not open, so I can use that for the status of any curve file. So if I say ZRUSD, take the GBP, should tell me that here ZRUSD is currently available for editing. Of course, it's available because it's not even open at all by anybody. So on this computer system, I'm the only user. So, but in a real life situation, in an investment bank, it could most likely, or probably, if someone has got it open for editing, it'll tell you. And it was last edited on that date between 10:48 and 10:54 p.m. So that's the time I opened and I finished my editing 6 minutes later by AA AZMAT Ali. Okay, finished. So this file, this is the command I used it where of any curve file, it doesn't have to be open. Status of any curve file. So not everyone has the authority to use this command, because if someone else is using it, someone doesn't have the authority to edit anyway, they might not even be given that opportunity, perhaps, because they can always, anyone can open for view only, open curve for view anyway. So status of any curve file, only certain people have access to use this command, the authority to use this command. So this command can be used to quickly find the current status of a given curve file before it is open for editing or viewing. This curve file may or may not be open at the time of this command by any user of AZMAT System. Right? So any user of AZMAT System can have it open, or may have open, or may not. So you can use it if you have the authority to use this command. The user is prompted to enter full name of the required curve file and also the curve area for non-reference. Note that the ZRUSD, because it's a reference curve file, I do not have to give the curve area. That means a folder, because AZMAT System will automatically look it into the program directory, program folder, AZMAT System program folder.
The curve area is the full path name of the directory, including the drive letter, where the required curve file resides. And of course, again, the error message is displayed if the directory did not exist at folder. AZMAT System then checks the required curve file in the given area. An error message is displayed if the above file did not exist in the given area.
So if you're given a name of a file, a curve file, which does not exist in the given area, it will tell you, give you an error message. If the curve area, the folder itself does not exist, again, it will tell you so. Check and tell you. So, but if it does, if the folder exists and the file exists, then a message containing the latest information about the relevant curve file is displayed. For example, ZR-GBP.xl is currently available for editing, or maybe it's not available. Someone else is using, who is using it, and will tell you when they last opened it for editing, and so on. The ID of the editor and the full name. So if it's actually open and closed, then it'll say, right, it's available for editing. If they still have it open, open it for editing, it'll tell you that they opened it for editing such and such time, and it's still open. It's not available for editing. That means they have still got it open. And if you want to open for editing, you can tell them to close it, finish their editing, so then you can open it for editing. Right, change to AZMAT program directory. This is the same command, exactly the same command as we saw in the U menu, change to AZMAT program directory. So you can have the same command in more than one menu at the same time. So, and here I have it, but the reason I have it here is because, supposing you want, because all reference curves, remember, all reference curves, ZR and ZN curves are stored in the AZMAT program directory. If you enter a name of a particular curve, reference curve, or ZN curve there, ZN or ZR, beginning with ZN or ZR, and you know it's a valid name. But if AZMAT System turns around and says, oh, it doesn't exist, so very quickly change to check. You need to change the program directory. Remember, when we first saw the actual folder or the directory when AZMAT System is open leaves you in the AZMAT user directory, user's own directory, which is the drive letter and then AZMAT. So if I go here, sorry, no, not here. I want to go and see file open there. So drive, this is G and AZMAT. So that is my folder or directory right under the root directory of the drive letter. So G colon AZMAT is the user's directory. Right? That's the user's directory. If I want to change AZMAT program directory, I can very quickly use that command. Or that. Same command is in both menus. I can, of course, go and use Excel, file open, but it would be rather tedious. Go and find exactly where it is. And won't just be simple one level. It could be several levels. So I'd rather just use one of these commands. It quickly changes, so then that. So changes to AZMAT program directory. This is also ZR rates curves file directory, and also ZN curve files. Use this command to quickly change the current directory to AZMAT program directory. This is the directory where AZMAT System program files are stored. It is also where all current ZR rates curve files are stored.
and also the ZN file size store.
Next one, right? We're going to update future dates. Now we did that a couple of times. Future dates, selected the features area, and then use the command, in which case is quicker. It's already selected the, or you could just say, start the command and then point to the area.
So update future dates F1, F2,
All the way up to F20
in this case, in the current ZR and ZN curves. Please note that only certain people have the authority to use this command. And as usual, AZMAT System displays a message if the current user does not have access to this command. Update future dates.
Remember, you cannot use this command if you only have authority to open the curve for rate setting, or authority to open the curve for view only, or not be able to view it, open the curve at all, even for viewing. So this command, update feature dates, is really designed and meant. In practice, it will only be used, the authority will only be given to those who have authority to open curve for file edit, because those people can change this area. File edit can change anything, so they are the ones who will be able to update future dates.
So this command can be carried out on a rates file which has been opened for an edit session. It cannot be carried on a rates file which has been opened for viewing only. Typically, this command will be carried out once a quarter.
So when the feature is changed, the first feature in this case now currently is 25th of August today. And so the first feature is September 2017. But so once a quarter, the first feature then will become December 2017 will be the first feature, and so on. So once a quarter, typically,
this command will be used. When the future changes. This command can only be carried out by a user who has the authority to edit the rates file. File edit rather, not just rates edit. The quickest way is to select the features area in the maturity column.
As I said before, as we actually demonstrated, select that whole area, features area, and then use the commands quicker. But you can also use the command and then point out that relevant area if you want.
Whether or not any area is selected before this command is chosen, the user is prompted to select the features area.
In the maturity column,
F1, F2, so on up to F20. There is no need to type in the actual reference.
You can, if you want to, enter the actual reference, but it's quicker to
simply point using your mouse. Simply select the appropriate area with the mouse and then click OK. AZMAT System updates the maturity column in the curve with the latest future dates. For example,
F1, F2, F3, and so on, the future dates.
Note that the result of this command is only for the benefit of the user, so that the user can see at a glance the future expiring months. AZMAT System always carries out all calculations according to the dates which it displays in the maturity date column. There. So this is the date AZMAT System actually uses. So future 1, September 2017. The expiry date is
actual expiry maturity date is Wednesday, the 20th of December, 2017. That's the date AZMAT System uses. This is the first feature, September 17, 2017, that is for the benefit of user. So the December feature, the second feature, the actual expiry of that is 21st of March 2018. And that's the date is used by AZMAT System, the date in the maturity date column. This maturity column only, as opposed to maturity date column, that's maturity date column. This is maturity column. This is for the benefit of the user, this definition here. Feature 1, September 17. This is entirely for the benefit of the user, not for AZMAT System. AZMAT System uses those dates which it has calculated, which it calculates itself at the end of every edit session, file edit session, I should say. Okay, so the result of this column, of this command rather, is only for the benefit of the user, so that the user can see at a glance the future expiring months. AZMAT System always carries out all calculations according to the dates which it displays in the maturity date column there. Next one. So the update feature there is open live file for view. Now opens the live file for view. Normally there is no need to use this command because the live file z1_azmat.xls is opened by AZMAT System at the beginning of each new session. New session of AZMAT System, that is. The user can view this file at any time simply by using the Excel command window and hide. So let's just have a look at this here. Window and hide z1_azmat.xls. That's the live file. And that's what you say. You select that, OK to view. It's already open by AZMAT System when it opens when it starts the AZMAT session. Okay, so normally you don't need to use this command because that is already open, as we said, at the beginning of each session. And you can look at it by simply using window and hide, or notice that in later versions of Excel, the command is not here so simply available. You have to use different layers of commands to see that. We will see that in the actual Windows 10, Windows 20, Excel 2010 to 2007 and so on. You will see that it's not so simply available straight away as it is here. Cancel that. I don't want to hide that right now. So this command should be used to open the latest version of z1_azmat.xls under the following circumstances. If the live file z1_azmat.xls was closed by the user during the session for whatever reason. So if you open that one, and then you go ahead, look at it, let's open it. If you go Windows unhide, and you unhide it, and then you close it, just because you feel like it, for example, that's the time you will open it. Because then when you say cancel that and use that command, open live file for view, then it will open it for view because you've closed it. So normally you wouldn't really need to open it because it's already there available for you all the time. The second circumstance is if the live file z1_azmat.xls
has been edited by another user since the start of AZMAT session. So if you have got AZMAT open live file for view, and open you started the session, and you're aware that someone else has actually edited that file, i.e. made changes to that file. So then you want to open the latest version. That's the time you'll use that. So either you have closed it, for whatever reason, then you say open that for view, or when a later version is available, some changes have been made, someone else has edited that file, and you want to see the latest version. Then you say open file for view, live file for view, in which case AZMAT System will close the currently open live file, which is hidden, or it could be unhidden if you had actually used the command to unhide. You close that and then open open again if someone else, to your knowledge, has edited that file, made some changes to open the latest version. Next command is open live file for edit. If open live file for edit, as it says, you'll just simply open it, because when it opens here, it is not open for edit, it's open as view only, normally when it's there. So please note that only certain people have the authority to use this command, and the AZMAT System displays a message if the current user does not have access to this command. This command should be used to open the live file z1_azmat.xls for editing, because as it says, open live file for edit. Any changes made to this file will affect all users of AZMAT System who use live data, not just you. If you open for live file for edit, every single user within your computer system using that file those changes will be available to those users, all those users. So it should not just be edited for fun. Every single user will use that. So this command should be used to open the live file for edit, z1_azmat.xls for editing. Any changes made to this file will affect all users of AZMAT System who use live data. Those who don't use live data, fine, no problem. It won't affect them because they're not using. But the ones who use live data, it'll affect them. So use it carefully. When finished editing live file, please use one of the following two commands from K menu. Either the first command is save changes to live file. Save changes to live file. It saves changes to live file at the end of the edit session. Remember, don't use this one, save curve changes. That's for the not live curves. To save changes to live file, you actually have to use a specific command, say save changes to live file. Either use that at the end of the edit session or end live file edit, do not save changes. Next one. As is clear, it ends the live file edit session without saving any changes. So when you open the live file for edit, you can only use one or two commands. Save changes live file or end live file edit, do not save changes. If changes to live file z1_azmat.xls have been saved, then all other users of AZMAT System should, as soon as it is practicable, use the following command from K menu, open live file for view. Right? If you made some changes to the live file, make sure everybody else using the AZMAT System is aware of that and ask them to use that command, open live file for view.
so that they will have the latest changes that you have made at the end of your edit session. If you do not let them know, they might still be thinking, oh, or they would still be using that the original the live file. That is the one before you made any changes, because they won't even be aware of if you don't tell them. So this is to ensure that they too will be using the latest version of this file. Otherwise, they will be using the old version as it was when they opened it. So any person who starts AZMAT session when the editing of live file is finished will automatically be using the latest version of this file, so there is no need to use the above command. But they don't need to use the open live file for view if they start AZMAT system after you have ended the live file edit by either using the save change live file or that. So that when their AZMAT system opens, they will automatically have the AZMAT system will have automatically opened the latest version of the live file. All other users must use the open live file for view after you've finished the edit session after you've finished editing the live file, and use the save changes to live file command. Last but not least, in here we have save changes. Sorry, not quite last yet. Save changes to live file, which we have gone through briefly. Let's go it again. Save changes to live file at the end of edit session. Note that only certain people have authority to use command as before, and this command should be used to save changes when finished editing live file z1_azmat.xls, which is normally kept hidden, but you can see it by using the Windows unhide command. If changes to the live file z1_azmat.xls have been saved, then all other users of AZMAT system should, as soon as practical, use the following command from K menu: open live file for view, to ensure they'll be using latest version, as we just said. Any person who starts AZMAT session when the editing of live file is finished will automatically be using the latest version of that file. So there is no need to use the open live file for view command. All other users must do that, must use that. To abandon changes to the live file z1_azmat.xls, use this command: end live file edit, do not save changes. As it says, it ends that session without saving any changes. End live file edit. Gone through this other commands, but we'll very briefly go through again. Ends live file edit without saving any changes. Only certain people have the authority to use command, and this command should be used to abandon changes to when finished editing live file. Note that any changes already saved using Excel file save command cannot be undone. See, this is very, very important to note that. When you open a curve, reference curve ZR, whatever here and so on, or ZN on those curves when you open, and if you use Excel file save command, Excel, AZMAT system rather, will not use those changes. You have to use one of these AZMAT system commands: save curve changes, and so on, close and reopen the curve, and so on. But for the live file, it's different.
Very important to note the difference. This command should be used to abandon changes. Right? Live file and live file edit do not save changes. When finished editing live file. Live file is z1_azmat.xls. Note that, very important, any changes already saved using Excel file save command cannot be undone. So if you open the live curve, open live file for edit, and use Excel file save after making some changes, those changes have already been made. AZMAT System will start, anyone else who starts AZMAT session will start using those changes that you have made during the edit session of that live file. So by using this command and live file edit do not save changes, it will not be able to undo the changes that you have made and saved using Excel file save command. Okay? They cannot be done. This command can only abandon any changes since the file was last saved. So after saving the file and you made some more changes, then it will abandon only those changes since the last time the file was saved. To save changes to the live file z1_azmat.xls, use the following command from K-menu. Save changes to live file. That is, you use at the end of that command, at the end of the file, live file edit session. Now we come to the last but not least. Reset edit status of live file. Resets the edit status of live file if last edit session ended abruptly. Same as the other curve file, reference curves, etc. If the, like here, reset curve file, if the session ended abruptly, you use that edit session. Here, this one specifically applies to the live file. So the resets the edit status of live file if last edit session ended abruptly. Note that only certain people have the authority to use this command as usual. And the system, AZMAT system, will display the message if the current user does not have the authority to use it, does not have access to this command, rather, or authority to use this command. This command resets edit status of the live file z1_azmat.xls. It should be used only if the last edit session of the live file was ended abruptly. Just like that. Only if the edit session was ended abruptly, then you'd use this command. When an edit session is ended abruptly, the live file cannot be edited again until the edit status of the file is reset. Right? If an edit session is ended abruptly, live file, no one else can edit that file using AZMAT system command. You have to reset the file. Same applies to here, other curve files. Reset the curve file. When the edit session ended abruptly, you have to reset it before it can be used for file edit or reset it. So note, now you will go through in here a bit later on here. Let's just see. When an edit session is ended abruptly, the live file z1 AZMAT.xls cannot be edited again until the edit status of the file is reset. Note that an edit session is considered to have ended abruptly when one of the following two commands from K-menu are not used at the end of that edit session. Right? So if you open the file, live file for edit, and you do not use either save changes to live file or end live file edit do not save changes. If you do not use one of these commands, then AZMAT System regards it as the edit session has ended abruptly. Okay, so note that the edit session is considered to have ended abruptly when one of the following two commands on K-menu are not used at the end of the edit session. First command is save changes to live data. Save changes to live file, rather. Saves changes to live file at the end of the edit session. Or second, end live file edit. Do not save changes. Ends the live file edit session without saving any changes. So if you don't use one of these commands and you close the file or basically go on to use some other commands or whatever, and someone else wants to edit, they cannot edit it until reset edit status of live file command is used. It has to be used before anyone can edit that file. So that's the end of the K menu. It has been a long session. Hopefully it's not been too boring. And I think it's appropriate now that we'll end this session. Well done if you have stayed all the way up to the end of this tutorial. Thank you for staying up so late. Okay, let's first just go here and have a look at this. So ZRGBP is open. I could actually close that, do not save any changes. Done that. I'll save this one here. Save data file. So it's 1:28 a.m. on 25th of August. So we will end this edit session for now. So remember, we used in this session, we used Excel 2003 running under Windows XP. In another tutorial, we'll use the Excel 2007 running under Windows XP. And also in yet another tutorial, we'll use Excel 2010 running under Windows XP. And so on. I will now end this session. Thank you for your time.